disagree with her. Within 24 hours, you must disagree with her. When you first meet a woman that you want to date, you want to make her your girlfriend, obviously you're going to be keen to make a good first impression. You want her to like you want to be friendly, but trust me, if you want her to be attracted to you, within 24 hours, you must disagree with her. Let me explain why. I've said many times that in dating and relationships, men need to take a leadership role. And that's not because it's like a toxic patriarchy and women need to do what men say. No, it's a voluntary assumption of the burden of responsibility. Somebody needs to lead in a relationship, to make choices, to set the pace. And when a man assumes that fundamentally masculine role, it makes him more attractive to women and it allows the woman to relax more into her femininity, which is what you want. Feminine women are the best types to date. What a lot of men don't understand is that the tone of a relationship is set really early on. First impressions, first couple of dates, and therefore, it's really important to start strong. Be bold, demonstrate your masculinity. This is a golden opportunity to set the tone that you want for the rest of your relationship. In 20 years' time, do you want this woman to love and adore you? Do you want her to respect and admire you, to defer to your leadership and to your judgment, to be sweet and supportive and feminine? If that's the case, then from the very beginning, you need to expect to be loved and adored. You need to expect her to admire you, to respect you. You need to set your boundaries and communicate them really early on. Not necessarily explicitly, like on the first date, you're like, these are my boundaries. It's more communicated by your essence. This is me. This is who I am. This is the kind of person I am. And these are the expectations I have for a woman who wants the privilege of being my girlfriend. When it comes to women, do not be afraid to lead. Because human beings in general have, strong social instincts that reinforce conformity. They have got that sheep-like herd mentality. Humans like to have a leader that they can follow. They respond to strong leadership. It's a very rare individual that backs their own judgment against the contrary opinions of lots of other people. And when you do tend to find somebody who's that individually minded, they've got that lone cowboy Maverick kind of mentality, it tends to be in men because that kind of independence is masculine. You don't tend to see it so much in women because a woman's sense of safety is so strongly linked to her social bonds. And you can look at evolution and how we evolved as part of tribes for clues on that. Social cohesion was an important part of the female psyche because how well she got on with the other members of the group basically determined whether or not she was going to survive. And so evolution positively selected for agreeability. Check out Jordan Peterson's work on personalities to see how much more agreeable women are than men are. That's not a coincidence. But do you see those feminine instincts for social conformity? Do you see how that can work in your favor? Because when you're trying to date a girl, if you have a strong frame, a lot of confidence, a lot of self-esteem, this is me, I'm awesome, and this is how people should treat me, it's playing into the incentives that she has already inside her feminine psyche to respond to that kind of leadership. She's going to follow your lead. She'll fall into your frame. If you think that you're fantastic, she'll largely go along with it. Sure, she might test you out a few times to test, to see if you're really calibrated. And she might look to see if your friends treat you positively and if other women respond to you positively as well. But by and large, as long as you don't mess up any of that stuff, yeah, basically the way that you see yourself is how she's going to see you. Do you see how for a woman, that's actually safer? Because to rely on her own independent judgment, that's quite risky. She was going to defer to the expert in that situation, and who knows you better than you know yourself. So if it's not an act, if your confidence and your self-esteem is genuine and sincere, then it's smarter, it's safer for her to just go along with that. That's what the feminine does. It follows the masculine. And this is not just theory. You guys in the audience who are masculine inside your relationships, you can confirm what I'm saying here. You know how much women like it when men are men, when they demonstrate that masculinity. It brings out a beautiful femininity in the woman. But then let's get to the point of this video. Why do I say that it's essential that you disagree with a woman in the first 24 hours? It's because disagreements are normal and natural. If you don't show her your independence, your masculinity, your willingness to back your own judgment and disagree with her, then how are you going to stand out from all those other loser guys that are tripping over themselves to conform to her frame, to her worldview? You see, that's what most guys do. They agree with everything that she says because they're trying to make a good impression, and they think that essentially being a male version of a clone of her is the best way to build rapport. I mean, that might be what she's looking for in a pet, like some cute little handbag dog that she can dress up and carry around everywhere that she goes because it's cute and it's non-threatening. But she might want that in a pet, but that's not what she wants in a boyfriend. She wants somebody of a sovereign mind, not somebody who's trying to trick her and manipulate her and, make her believe that he's somebody different. He's creating this false impression of who he is so that she'll like him better. She does not want a man like that. Only a low quality male would resort to such sneaky manipulative tactics to try and trick her into liking him. A high value man doesn't do that. He knows his value. He knows his worth in the sexual marketplace. And so he doesn't need to censor himself or, give a false impression of who he is in order to generate attraction. Attraction from women is assumed. He is who he is and he says what he thinks. And he's confident that that's enough. And even if he is disagreeing with her, he's not worried that that's going to cost him the relationship just because he's broken rapport. No, he has his own mind. That's fine. So don't be afraid to disagree with a woman. The result's not going to be bad. It's going to be positive. Now, I'm not saying create some artificial situation where you scream at her out of the blue. Aha, I disagree, That's awful. I'm just saying in the natural course of things, when something comes up where you clearly have a divergence in your thinking, don't be afraid to communicate that. Okay, enough theory. What does this look like? Okay, imagine a conversation and she's talking about her taste in music or her taste in TV shows. She's been watching this new TV show that she absolutely loves and she's raving about it. And she says, you absolutely got to watch it. But you've been listening and it's not your kind of thing. It's not a genre you appreciate. Say that, say, oh, it's awesome that you found this thing that you really like. It's so cute watching you get all passionate and excited about it. But I've watched shows like that in the past. It's not really my kind of thing. What I really like is this show. Have you seen that one? That's pretty mild, right? A lot of guys would think, well, that's just a normal conversation. And good if you think that, but you'd be surprised. A lot of guys would totally give up their own opinion and just agree with her, She's saying, oh, you've got to watch this TV show. And they'd be like, okay, make sure that, she likes you, agree with her and say, oh, yeah, that sounds fantastic. I'll go, get it on my Netflix right now. He watches one episode and he's like, oh, it's so amazing. He's texting her, memes. Oh, you should come around and watch it with me. Ugh. I mean, they think that they're doing well, but they have no idea how embarrassing their behavior is, how cringeworthy that kind of sucking up is. And men are not as good as lying as they think that they are, especially when it comes to social stuff with women. Women are really good at detecting bullshit from men. If you're just falsely, trying to build rapport and agreeing with her, but it's not your true opinion, she can probably tell. She's not going to be attracted to that. In fact, she's probably going to be angry at him. Oh, this guy's so fake. Why is he trying to fool me into thinking that he's a different person that he is? He's trying to deceive me, I'm angry at him now. She's not wrong. He is agreeing with her to try and trick her because the mindset of a man who's always agreeing with a woman is that he doesn't believe truly deep down inside himself that they're equals or that he's better than her. He thinks he's a low quality male and he's trying to sneak his way into a dating dynamic that's going to be beneficial for him. He wants her to like him and he thinks that the only way that he can do that is being as non-threatening and as agreeable as possible. Essentially being that little handbag puppy dog. I cannot understate enough how much contempt women have for men like that. Women actually hate men like that. They hate them for their lack of masculinity and for the deception. You look like a real man, but all this agreeableness, that's not masculine. That's not being a real man. And so I'm angry at you. I hate you for trying to deceive me. All right, let's amp this up a little bit. Let's go to a second example, something a little bit more serious, not just a TV show, something that is personal for her, something really emotional. Let's say two of her friends are fighting and it's a tense social situation and this girl has really strong opinions about it and she's telling you this story and she's looking for your validation and support. But as you're listening to it, you're like, I really don't see it the same way that she does. Don't be afraid to say that to her. Now, obviously, you don't want to be a jerk about it and just be like, you're wrong. I don't see it like that. What's wrong with you or anything like that? Just be curious. Don't just go along with her from the beginning. Ask questions, gather more data. Like, okay, but did that person do this? Or did they say that? Or how did they say that? Or where did you hear that from? Like, ask questions. That's well within your right. And at the end of it, you can say, look, I completely see where you're coming from, but have you considered it might be more like this? Or I had a situation like this once and I kind of resolved it in my mind a little bit more thinking of it like this. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, it might be a little bit tense as the two of you, realize you might, not see eye to eye on something like this, but it's important that you establish that early. What kind of a relationship do you want to have in the future? One where you have to go along with her with everything she says, where you automatically agree with her? No, you've got to set that frame early. You've got your own perspective, your own opinions, your own value system. You're never being a jerk about it. You're never demanding conformity to your views, like you have to see things the way that I see it, but you're sovereign inside yourself. You've got your own mind and you're not scared to show her that. Really nice guys have this toxic belief that having their own thoughts and opinions that differ from the woman they're speaking to is somehow being rude. It's being like sexist or patriarchal or something. It isn't rude. Trust me, you're not doing a woman any favors by pretending to be a perfect extension of her thoughts. When women are talking to men, they respect and are attracted to men when they can actually sense their existence, when they push against him and they can feel his psychological boundaries. They can feel where he starts and ends. He's not empty space to just be filled up with, whatever she's talking about. He's not emotionally volatile and fragile, throwing temper tantrums or breaking down and crying or anything like that. He's just a man. He's solid. He's secure. He's masculine, and it makes her feel safe. She wants to know where your boundaries are. Women like to know where they stand. They like to know who they're dealing with, so don't be afraid to show her. If you want more examples on how to disagree with women, or you want to talk through some situations in your real life, hit me up on Hey Hero. Send me a story, ask me your questions. I'll send you a personalized video in response. But right now, we'll move on. Moving on, because I really need to emphasize that it's not just about disagreeing with her, it's about disagreeing with her early. It's about setting that frame early on in your relationship. Because some guys have this totally disastrous strategy, and they think, okay, well, in the long term, yes, I want the freedom to be able to disagree with her, and I want her to respect my leadership later on, but I'm not going to start off that way, because I want her to like me. So my strategy with dating is going to be really nice, really friendly, really likable and agreeable to begin with, and then once she likes me and I get her into a relationship, then I'll start to gradually make some changes. Wrong. Don't do it. Won't work. She won't find you attractive. She can't. How is she going to be attracted to a man when she doesn't even know who he is? Because he has no discernible mind of his own. He has no boundaries. He has no opinions. That's not a real man. That's just a pet. So start strong. Be your best self. Be confident in asserting your masculinity. Let her know from the outset that if she wants a relationship with you, this is what she can expect. This is how it's going to be. No false expectations. If you want to be my girlfriend, then this is what a relationship with me is going to look like. I'm going to disagree with you. Don't ever expect me to censor myself for the sake of your comfort. I'm going to have my own opinions, and I want you to respect that in the same way that I'm going to respect you having your own opinions. We're not going to have a relationship of codependence. Perhaps this seems obvious, but I cannot tell you how many times I did consultations or now on Hey Hero when guys have asked me for advice and they say, I don't know what happened. My relationship was good, but now it's turned toxic. What's going on? And the more they tell me, it becomes obvious that no, that's not what's going on. The relationship didn't turn toxic. It was toxic at the start. The problems that they are facing now in their relationship were very much present at the very beginning. Yes, it might have gotten worse because the honeymoon period is over, but all those problems, the lack of respect, the lack of clearly defined, masculinity and femininity within the relationship, that was all present from the beginning of the dynamic. How you are at the beginning of dating a woman can set the tone for how she views you for the rest of your life, which is why I say it is absolutely essential that within the first 24 hours, you must disagree with her. The dark triad: narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism. Is this a good idea to cultivate these traits so that you can get better with women? It's the topic of my latest video, and I would never release this video on YouTube. This is a private one. Things get real. If you want to see that video, come over to my Patreon. It's just $5 a month. You get instant access to a whole bunch of fantastic content. The value is absolutely insane. $5, like 150 videos at this point. It's a great way to support the creator. Come on over, join the community. It's a fantastic group of people over there. I'd love to see you.